Hello, good morning, guys. We're gonna wait for 2 more minutes because we are expecting more attendees to join the session. Until then, if you have any kind of doubts or questions, we have enabled a Q&A and chat options for all of you. You can ask your questions over there. Hello, Lakhan. Guys, you can tell me, like, you can write on chat option. Hello, Yavar. Anything that you want to ask, you want to tell me, you can write on a chat option. Okay, guys, so it's time to start the session. I can see many people have joined. Okay, so hi, good morning, you all, and I welcome you all in today's Guru class. My name is Karishma, and I'm a senior academic counselor at Unikaksha. So, if you guys have anything to ask about Unikaksha, about today's webinar, today's Guru class, you can write on the chat option or Q&A. We have enabled that section for you. Okay, so before moving start, I will gonna tell you something about what is Unikaksha. Okay, so we are an online upskilling platform that helps students and working professionals upskill themselves in their tech careers with the help of our top mentors and industry relevant curriculum. So far, we have a positive impact in the career of 10,000 plus students, and with today's Guru class, we want to do the same for you all. So guys, post this Guru class, we're all going to receive a proper certificate of this class. Okay, we would love for you to all to share your certificates in your LinkedIn profile by tagging Unikaksha and by tagging Full Stack Development. It will gonna be very beneficial for you all only. Okay, so yeah, so you will learn why errors are the backbone of coding and how to handle them can make all the difference between walking into an interview with full confidence. So today's Guru class we're going to be taken by Swati Yadav. Swati is a senior trainer at Unikaksha, and in her journey, she has trained more than 10,000 plus students in different languages and technologies. She has more than 8+ years of experience in Java, FSD, web development, and more than 2 years as a certified trainer in Java, web, and Python data science. Additionally, she has an extensive background in Java FSD curriculum development and training for working professionals. She's the best trainer to guide you in today's Guru class, and let's welcome you all.
Hi everyone, good morning. Hi everyone, good morning. Am I audible? Yes. Can you write it? Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah. Hi. So today what we are going to discuss in our Guru class is about arrays and basically what to focus in arrays, and we'll take up a couple of questions at the end of the area, at the end of our session as well, to see what kind of questions come up in your interviews. And to ace your coding interviews for a software engineering job, you'll need to understand arrays. I hope all of you are from an engineering background or from an IT field. Can I have a yes or no? Can you let me know, are you from an IT field or a non-IT field? Make use of chat. About how does it matter how many students are there in the class? Just let me know whether you're from an IT field or not. Do you have any knowledge about arrays or what this particular kind of structure stands for? I hope all the students also joined today, they are actually prepping up for the companies or for interviews now. Yes. Cool. Nice. So now these arrays, they come up frequently in coding interviews. If any one of you have any experience giving interviews, you'll know that strings, arrays, data structures, these are the common questions which actually comes up, or the concepts on which the questions comes up, right? Yes or no? Have you guys been into interviews? Guys, let's make it interactive, right? Write on the chat as much or whatever, whichever question I'm asking for that answer. Make use of the chat. Have you guys given any interviews so far? Are you guys interviewing? No? No? But are you aware of any such pattern, like how the interviews are being conducted? What kind of questions are most common in it? Do you have any idea about it? So I'll tell you, there are strings, arrays. These are most common questions which come up. Sometimes pattern programming also comes up. Sometimes they ask questions on regex, which is your regular expressions, and data structures, of course. So whenever you will get a question maybe on string or arrays, they might have, want you to implement some DS into it. All right. So let's take a look at, what is array, how to proceed about it. Today's agenda is basically to ace any coding interviews which has arrays into it. So to ace the coding interviews or to get into the programming part, we first need to understand what arrays are, right? So let's try and understand array basics for now. Okay. So can someone tell me what is an array? Have you done programming? Can someone tell me what is an array? Collection of data. Okay. Very cool. So it's like a list like data structure, right? That contains a collection of all the values in it. Each are associated with a specific index. Yes, there is an index on an array, usually with a fixed overall size. So for example, in most of the languages, your arrays, they are fixed. That means you define a size and that's it. That's about it. You cannot, decrease or increase the size on your whim when the program is already running. And then all the elements in an array, they are indexed. Okay. Just give me a moment. I'll take you up to my whiteboard. Let me know if you're able to see my screen or not. So we are talking about arrays. Okay. Arrays, for that we say that it is a collection of values or data, right? Or elements, whichever way you want to put it, basically. And each of the element, they has an index assigned to it. For example, I have an array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is the size of this array? What is the size of this array? 7. From what would be the index? Acha, 8. Okay. 7. There are 7 elements inside it. So the size is 7. What would be the index? What is an index? What do you understand by index of an element in an array? Index means acha, okay, arrangement, or you could say the position, right? So indexing, it starts in arrays, it starts from 0, goes up to size -1. The size is 7, that means the last index is 6. Okay, so these are your indexes or indices. Okay, now the same image which I showed you, it was talking about the same thing. So arrays are one of the most fundamental data structure in programming and computer science, and many more complex data structures, they are built using arrays. If you have done data structures, you know there is stack, linked list, trees, graphs, and all of that, you know, in one way or the other, you can implement through arrays data structure. Yes? Yes or no? Have you tried ever implementing a stack using an array or a queue using an array? You can actually, right? So that is the thing. The array itself is not always as simple as it might seem right now in front of me, that I just create a simple array, start working on it. There are many tricky questions which comes up when you go into an interview, many tricky questions. And at those times, if you are not prepared well, we'll sit over there scratching our head. So again, for the simplicity, for anyone who's not understood what is an array, you can think of an array as a flight of stairs, where on each step is placed a value, and you can identify the location on any of the step or the value on any of the steps simply by knowing the count of the step. But the count you start from 0. That is the thing. Okay. Understood this? Now, one question that is being asked a lot is arrays always of a fixed size? Is arrays always of a fixed size? So how can the size vary? On what factors maybe? On what factors? So that also depends upon the programming language that you are working on. For example, if you are on C language, there the array has a fixed size, meaning once the size is given to it, it cannot be changed. That is, you cannot shrink or expand the array. Okay. Whereas if we come to our, if you talk about Python, if you talk about JavaScript, we have dynamic arrays over there. In Python, you have lists. It's actually an array. Okay, the list-like structure that you have in Python, it's the array implementation only. In JS, you have dynamic arrays. You can increase, decrease the size. So that also dependent upon the language that you are working on. All right. Is this understood? Now, sometimes interviewers, they also ask you different types of arrays. Different types of arrays. They ask you questions about arrays as if, you know, to refer to a single concept. There are different types of arrays which are present. You might be aware of it. What are different kinds of arrays? Yes, Yavar Altaf Dar, you're talking about, it's also dependent upon the programming language that you're working on. So once you initialize the array, maybe you're talking which language you've worked on. Maybe you've worked on C, C++, you worked on Java. That is there, the arrays, they are fixed. Once the size is given, there is no other change that you can bring about in it. You can delete, or you can delete items from it, that is all right, but the size of the array will always, if you've given 10, it is going to be 10. That is what I'm saying. In JS, in Python, that is the variable length is there. Okay. That is dependent upon different programming language as well, and the need that arise to have such dynamic arrays to be implemented. Types of arrays, yes, 1D, 2D, 3D. Basically, it is 1D or multidimensional, right? By 2D means multidimensional. No? There are more than one dimension to it. So one dimension and multidimensional. All right. 1D array, how does a 1D array looks like? How does a 1D array looks like? Okay. Try and implement 1D array. Can you try and implement 1D array? In whichever language you are aware of. Just do in that. Whichever programming language try and implement 1D array into it. Yeah, do it in C++, not a problem. Simple, I want what is 1D array. For example, int n5. This is your 1D array, right? Of size 5. It will only take one element, 5 elements inside it, just in one direction. If I have to go about 2D array, this is a 2D array, right? This is your 2D array. So one dimensional, two dimensional, different kinds of dimensions are there. 3-dimensional, even you can, scale up to 5 dimension as well, and even more. That depends upon the use case. So 1D array is where the elements are stored one after the other. Okay, for example, 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Like this. This is your 1D array. Okay. Simple. If you are from Java, C, C++ background, this is how we give it. We give data type, we give array name, and then the size. Okay, as simple. When you talk about multidimensional arrays, now multidimensional arrays, they are considered as arrays of an array, or as a matrix which has some rows and columns. You go to 3D, it becomes a cube, and so on. Start scaling it. right? Yes, that is the simplest form. Yes. So if you talk about a 2D array, suppose a 2D array is a table format or it is a matrix format. Like this. There are columns and then there are rows. These are your these are your, columns, this, and these are your rows. 1 row, 2 row, 3 row, 1 column, 2 column, 3 column. The indexing again starts from 0 for rows and columns. The first is your row. The first bracket, for example, ARR, the first bracket represents row. The second bracket represents column. Suppose it has some data in it, 5, 10, 20, 15, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. If I ask you that I want to get the this value out, what would be the index at this position, 45? Two comma two, very cool. 2 comma 2. There is suffix, there is no 3. Indexing, it starts from 0. So the last row, the last column here lies at 2. So this value is at 2 comma 2 intersection. All right. So that is a 2-dimensional. Similarly, you will have a 3-dimensional and so on. 3-dimension means there are 3 dimensions into it. Okay. It can be considered an array of 2Ds. It is an array of 2D, a 3D. Okay? It has a 2D as an element inside it. That is your 3-dimension. Then 4 and 5 and so on. So those are your different types of arrays. Okay. Mainstream programming languages, they kind of offer a built-in array implementation. Like for example, in Python, I told you, we have an array implementation called as list in Python. In Java, you have init or int. In Java, in C++, you do your array declaration like this. Pages or sheets of element. Acha, okay. 3D basically kind of, works. If you try and draw a 3D model, it comes in as a cube kind of structure or cuboid like of structure, right? Yes. And each element inside a 3D is again a 2D element. It's again a 2D array in a 3D array. That is what I'm talking about. Each element is a 2D. In 2D, each element is a 1D. Okay, so if I try and make 2D, 1, 2, 3, the next element is 2, 3, 4. So there are 2 elements and each element is a single dimensional array. If I try to make a 3D, if I try to make a 3D, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, this is one element. This is your second element. So this is what? A 2D. 2D elements inside an array makes it a 3D array. Okay, just remember that. So in many languages, including Java, the default arrays, they are static and homogeneous. Static means or fixed. That means fixed. Static is the size of the array. And it has to be declared upfront. Means initially only you set that by this is the size of the array, it's not going to change. whenever you create an array. Homogeneous means that all the elements in the array must be of the same data type. Okay. In coming from C++, C, Java background, you already know this. All of the elements inside an array in these languages, they are homogeneous of the same data type. Okay. If it is an integer array, all the elements have to go as integer. If it's a string, all the values has to be of string type, and so on. In other language where, suppose, let's say Python, the default array in Python is a list that is dynamic and heterogeneous. That means they can be resized dynamically later on at runtime if the need comes in, if you want to decrease or increase it. And it contains a mix of different types, which is heterogeneous. One element could be an integer, another could be a string, another could be again a list inside a list. So that is what heterogeneous means. Are you understanding this? Are you understanding this? Any difficulty in this? Yes, Yavar, what do you want me to, repeat? Talking about dynamic and heterogeneous, that is what you are talking about? Okay, the only thing that I brought into here is that in some of the programming languages, arrays are declared as static. Static means fixed. Once you give the size, it does not change. Okay. For example, Java, C, C++, those have like static arrays. Once you define that 10 is the size of my array, 10 is the size that is fixed. You cannot increase or decrease the size. You can delete items from it. Yes, you can delete, but the size of the array will not decrease. In an array of size 10, you have the liberty to put 10 elements, but you can also put 2 elements and it will be okay. That is what it means. Whereas in other programming languages like JS, like Python, what happens is arrays, they are dynamic in nature. Based on the requirement, their size increase or decrease. That is why they are called dynamic. Am I clear? Yes. Cool. And they are heterogeneous in Python, in JS, or in some other languages. Heterogeneous means they can contain a mixed type of elements into it. One could be string, integer, float, and whatnot. You also often encounter nested or multi-dimensional, which I've already talked about. Multi-dimensional arrays, they are basically nested arrays. That means inside one array, there are another arrays which are contained. Okay. Because array terminology and implementation, it differs across languages. It's always a good idea that you check your assumptions about a specific array question with your interviewer, that in which language that needs to be implemented. For example, you have gone for an interview of Python. They have given you a question on array. And there you forget how to implement it. Or what are the basic things. Sometimes, what happens is, I'll give you an anecdote of my life itself here, that I started as a Java, enthusiast. When I came to JavaScript, I got confused with arrays. A little bit confused. Why? Because in Java, it was a fixed array structure, no other changes. It was homogeneous. Here it was dynamic. Often I used to get confused in it. My size is fixed. I cannot, change it. I cannot do that or this. But then that only comes with practice. So it is often advisable when you go to an interview, you make sure you confirm with your interviewer that Whichever question they have given it to you, in which language you need to implement that. Okay. So they might be under the impression that you're going to implement it in, let's say Java, and you're doing it with Python. So you first take a confirmation that whether I can do it with this or not. Also, whenever you're going to an interview, suppose the role requires you to know Java primarily. That means in the interview, you're only going to put your code in Java. If you're confused and you think you can do it in any other language, you need to ask permission before. You're not straight away go and tell them, okay, fine, Java is not my cup of tea right now. I'll do it in, C++. I'll do it in JS. I'll do, with maybe Lang or something like, whichever other language. So if that is the case, you need to ask for their permission first. Another thing which I want to know from you guys, can someone tell me how arrays, they store data? How arrays, they store data? Think. How arrays, they store data? Acha, can someone tell me how the strings data gets stored? Do you know about memory management? What different kinds of memories are there? From one side, top of the array. Acha, okay. How many different kinds of memories are there? Memory management of any of the programming language that you know about. Something which is common in all the programming language. Have you heard about stack and heap memory? Have you heard about stack and heap memory? Yes. And what do you understand by the stack memory then? Stack memory. Acha, okay, no worries. So let's talk about strings. As with strings, data which is stored in arrays is traditionally kept in a heap memory or the heap of your computer memory. If you ever store a basic integer in a variable with a statement like int x equals to 1, suppose, that value is stored on the stack. This goes on stack. You might know about objects, and string objects, array objects, they go on heap memory. Have you heard about it? To answer many of the interview related questions which are related to your this arrays, you need to understand stack and heap memory. You need to understand stack. It's not static memory, it's stack memory. Stack is a linear data structure, whereas heap is a hierarchical data structure. One thing. Stack will never become fragmented, whereas heap becomes fragmented as blocks of memories. Stack पे, what do we put is, we put local variables. On heap, we put variables which can be accessed globally. Okay. Stack is a memory which allocates memory in a contiguous blocks. Heap is a random order. Okay. Heap is a random order. Now, stack is a special area of computer's memory which stores temporary variables onto it. You know, some static variables, static methods, functions, variables, simple variables, local variables which are declared, they at runtime, they go on stack. It's a temporary storage memory. When the computing task is done, the memory of the variable will be automatically erased. Okay. So this on the stack goes your local variables, reference variables, methods, static variables, static methods, all of those things go on stack. Heap is a memory which is used by programming languages to store global variables. All the global variables, they go on heap memory by default. On heap, there is also one thing which is called as dynamic memory allocation, which happens. It is not managed automatically. It is managed by CPU. Okay? It's more of a free floating region of a CPU. All of your objects creation, that all go on your, heap memory. Whether you make even your string objects, even your array objects, they go on your heap memory. Objects, when you create it with objects, if you're creating it with literal, they go on stack. Now, data in the heap has to be cleared manually. Alloc and dealloc, if you heard about it in C. Or also, if not manually, then you have a concept of garbage collection. Have you heard of garbage collection? That is where you try and refresh the memory and remove unused items from the memory. You should be prepared to answer such questions that, what leads to a memory leak? What is the difference between stack and heap? Which kind of data gets stored on stack? What data goes on heap? Because arrays, they need to store data in contiguous blocks of memory, the programmer often needs to be aware of trade-offs. Trade-offs means in terms of complexities of space and time. Okay. So if you don't reserve enough space for your array, you waste time as you have to allocate a new array again. If you reserve too much space, that is a waste of resource again. So you need to get better at this. Even adding a single element to a full array is an expensive operation. Matlab, on addition of a simple single element on a full array, it is again an operation. A new array has to be created. Every single element has to be copied from older one to the new one. Only then the new element will be added. Otherwise, you will not be able to add to a previous one if there is no space in it. Common approach that languages uses for dynamic arrays to double their allocated size every time they become full. On your dynamic arrays, where you have this liberty, what happens is they become double in size every time it fills up. Okay. Now, because strings, they are usually implemented as arrays of characters. Many interview questions, they also focus on arrays can be phrased as string interview questions. So that is in the beginning only I told you that arrays and strings are the most common concepts which get asked in interviews. Arrays are also closely related to linked lists. Many questions you can expect to be, come from linked lists and data structures as well. And they can also ask you for difference between the two, which one has a higher advantage, over the other one. Arrays, they are often contrasted with sets as well. So when you get data at a specific index, so for example, if you are concerned with some operation which relates to a specific index, what would be better? Will it be better to go with an array or will it be better to go with a set data structure? If it is about a specific index. If it is about a specific index, you need to consider arrays over there and not sets. If you need to check if a specific value is contained in the array, specific value is in the array, you're not sure where that lies. Okay. There the arrays are not efficient because it could be a huge set of elements inside it. If it's only 4 to 5 elements, the search is simple. If there are 100 and 200 elements, the search is not simple. You need to loop through every single value to see if it is a match or not. So in that particular case, arrays are not suitable, sets are suitable. You have a question coming up, a poll on your screen. I would like each one of you to attempt it.
So guys, you can see a question on your screen right now. The question says, Python array can be resized at runtime and can contain different data types. So if you think this statement is true, you can choose option true, or you can think it's false, you can choose option false. The poll will go on live for 10 seconds. So you can choose your answer now. Three more seconds, guys. If you haven't chosen your answer, this is the last time you can choose. I can see there's still three more people who haven't answered the question. Okay, then no worries. So, okay, so I can see many people have chosen option true and few people have chosen option false. So guys, you're absolutely right. The correct answer is option true. Okay, so there's 2-3 people who have chosen option false. So guys, please be interactive. This session is very fruitful for you if you be interactive throughout the session. Okay, so Swati, you can continue.
Sure. Now, I'm going to take up a few questions on arrays, just a couple of them as we are short on time. The first question which I'm taking up is to merge two sorted arrays. Suppose the question says that you have two sorted arrays and your task is to combine them. For example, I have an array 1 as 1, 3, 4, 5. I have array 2 as 2, 4, 6, 8. My task is to combine these two sorted arrays in a sorted manner only. After merging, they should again be sorted. So the resultant array should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 8. That means I've combined two arrays. It's not just, concatenation operation, but you also need to perform a sort on it, but also to get a sorted array out of it. The brute force method for that is to take all the elements of A and 2 and put it in 3, and then you simply sort it. That is the first approach that you can go for. It is very simple to implement. It's not much, complicated. And if I have to go with the brute force approach, what we'll do? How you're going to work on it? Can someone let me know how you're going to work on it? You can choose any programming language of your choice. I am choosing JS for now. I'll write the code here. Okay. And later we can try and run it. But currently I'm just going to write it down. I'll write in it. So if I have to do this, I can create a method to merge two arrays together. Okay. And then at the end, I can sort it. So for example, I can create a function initially. And a function, let's say I give it the name as array merge. Inside this function, what do we need to have? First, I need array 1. I need array 2. What is the size of array 1? What is the size of array 2? And then third array, or the combined array that I have. This is what I need initially to work with it. The next task which comes is that you need to traverse array 1 and insert its element in array 3. Okay. Traverse means you have to go, or you need to run a loop, take each element out of your array 1 and put it in array 3. That is the first task that we need to do. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a variable I. It's a loop variable that I'm taking. Another variable j, which is for the next array that I'm taking initially, and then k. What is k? K is the size that I'll be having for the array 3. Okay. Then let's run a loop until I is less than n1. That is the size, right? I is less than n1. Then what you have to do in array 3? Keep increasing the index and keep adding each element from array 1 to it. So array 1 I plus plus until your loop runs. The same thing you will have to do with your second array as well. While j is less than n2, array 3 k plus plus equals to array 2 j plus plus. Then when you have array 3 and you need to sort it now, just apply the sort method. Does it seem simple? Is it simple now? The driver program will have two arrays, array 1 and 2, and n1 and n2, that which is the length of the array, and then you just have to create a new array. The length of the new array is n1 plus n2. Okay. Is this understood? Any problem in understanding this question? Is this understood? Should I move to the next one? The time complexity for this, problem, it comes to as it's actually a brute force. So the time complexity is not good, which is your O m plus n log of m plus n. The whole size of array 3 is m plus n. Okay, this is our array 3. That is the time complexity. The space complexity is O1, which is there are no extra spaces used. So the space complexity comes at O1 for it. Another could be to go for an insertion sort and, to try with that. But I'm not taking it up right now. Have you understood the simple merging of two arrays? Another question which people get a lot is if you want to remove duplicates. Suppose in an array you have duplicates and you want to remove the duplicates. How will you remove the duplicates? Any one of you, have you done Python? Do you guys know Python? No? Okay. Then to take it up from a Python perspective will not work. Acha. Um, do you guys know? I can do this question with Java as well. I can do this question with JS again. I'm taking another question, which is where we want to remove duplicates from JS array or from a sorted array. Okay. So suppose the question states is remove duplicates from sorted array. You have a sorted array given of size n, and the task is that you remove the duplicate elements from it. So suppose the array is array of 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. Your task is to remove the extras or duplicates from here, and the output should come as 2, 3, 4. All the elements which are repeated or repeated, they are removed. So what do we do, or the brute force again, the naive method over here is to create a new array and store the unique elements in the new array. For checking duplicate elements, you just need to check the two adjacent elements, if they are equal or not. If they are equal, then you just put 1 into it and move on to the next one. And that is how we do that. So we create a temporary array to store unique elements. We traverse the input array one by one, copy unique elements of the array to the temporary array, and also keep the count of the unique elements. How many unique elements are there? Okay. So that is the brute force method which is there. If I have to do in this way, again, let's create a function. So let's start with creating a function. Duplicate array. In the duplicate array, first you just need an array and the size that needs to go into it, right? It only returns the size of the modified array. If you want to get the size of the modified array, if you want to get the output, you can get the output as well. Okay. So then the next task which comes into it is to check whether, it contains a single element or it contains any element inside it or not. And then you return the element itself. So if that is just a base condition, sometimes that we check, n equals to 0 or n is 1, then you just simply return n. Otherwise, what do is you create a temporary array of size given, which is n itself, jo bhi aapka, whatever was the array that you originally had, the same size. Then you start traversing the array. So for example, for var I equals to 0, I is less than n minus 1, which is size minus 1, last index I plus plus. Okay. Then after that, what do is we copy. If your current element is not equal to the next element, then you store that in your current element. That is how we do. Okay. So you start checking if current element, which is array of I, is not equals to array of I plus 1. Okay. If it is not equals to array of I plus 1, then in your temp, you put array of I. This is the first thing. Now you stored the last element as whether it is unique or repeated. It hasn't stored previously. Okay. So if your last element is not stored, then temp of j plus plus equals to array of n minus 1. Fine. That's it. And then you modify your original array and put everything back into it. If not, then you can just display your temporary array. And you return j. Now j is what? That is the count basically. Okay. How many arrays are there? So for example, var j equals to 0. And then you can remove, return the size. How many new elements? Return j. All right. So this is your removing your duplicates. If you knew Python, then that was very simple. To a list, you convert it into a dictionary with keys and you get the duplicates out. That is your Python code for it. All right. I hope you're able to understand how we approach questions. Yes. So by this, we come towards the end of our session today. There is another poll coming up for you now that you need to attempt.
So guys, you can see a question in your screen. Sets data structures are efficient than arrays when? So option 1, 2, and 3 and 4, you can see on your screen. Choose whichever option you think is correct. The poll will go into live for 15 seconds. Ten more seconds, guys. I request you all to attempt this question. I can see that few people haven't attended the questions yet. Okay. So we can end the poll now. So I can see that many people have chosen option A, want to get data at a specific index. And few people have chosen option B, check if a specific value is contained. And few have chosen option C and D. So guys, let me tell you a correct answer. The correct answer is option B, check if a specific value is contained. Only a few people were able to answer the question. So, okay, no worries. Still, there are many people who have answered the question right. So, okay. So, Swati, anything else that you want to say in the session? You are muted, Swati.
I'm sure I have communicated well on arrays. I'm open to Q&A, and if you guys have some questions for me to be addressed.
Sure. So before moving towards Q&A, let me again brief you about what is Unikaksha. So Unikaksha is an upskilling platform that helps upskill yourself according to your current industry standards. We have various courses of full stack development that comes with the pay after placement and many EMI options, EMI plans. So if you choose Unikaksha as your career support, as a career guidance, you're going to receive a lot of support from our end. So guys, I'm launching a poll again. You can see in your screen. So if you want to know more about Unikaksha, if you want to know more about our course or want to have a one-to-one counsel session from our counselors, just choose option yes. If you don't want to have a counseling session, or if you don't want to know about Unikaksha, just choose option no. The poll will go into live for 10 seconds. If you don't want to have a counseling session with us, you can also choose option no. Five more seconds. Okay. So thank you so much for giving such a positive response, guys. We will surely want to contact you and we're gonna counsel you on a phone call. Okay, so let's take up a Q&A section now. So whatever doubts you are having regarding the session, regarding the area topic which Swati have taught you today, and if you want to know anything about Unikaksha, you can write on Q&A or a chat option. The podium is open for you all. We can start the Q&A now. Bhargavi, Devendra, Jolly, Rohan, Safiq, Sai Lakshmi, guys, any question? So Yavar Altaf is saying, is it free? So Yavar, yes, if we have a pay after placement opportunity, if you are eligible for that program, we can surely provide you that program free of cost. Okay, for that you might have chosen option yes during the counseling session form, right? So we're surely gonna contact you and we're gonna explain you everything in detail about our course. Safiq is saying, I have done BSc with maths. Is there any issue in placement for this? Safiq, there is no problem if you have done your graduation with BSc maths. Okay, from our guidance, from our teaching, from our placement services, you will not going to face this kind of problem. Jolly is saying, I want to repeat the last quote. So Swati, can you please answer this question?
Yeah, tell me, Jolly, what you did not understand. I accidentally closed my file, but yeah, I'm actually opening it again.
So till that time, Yavor, you were asking, can someone from class 12 can join? Yes, definitely. There is no age limit or age to join this kind of courses. There is nothing like that. If you have an interest in coding, if you want to make your career in IT, you can surely opt for our course. There is no age foundation or qualification foundation.
Yes, Jolly, I was asking you, what do you want me to make you understand in it? Can you just write it down, please? The last code, third line. Okay. I'll write the code again because it didn't save, basically. That's why. 1 second. Okay, so the question was about removing duplicates from the sorted array, right? And in that, I told you that suppose there is an array which has duplicates in it. At the end of the array, you want, at the end of your operation, array operation, you want to return an array without any duplicates and all the unique numbers inside it. What was the approach that I took it? That means I'm going to create a temporary array to store unique elements in it. I'm going to traverse the input array which is there and copy the elements one by one into the temporary array. Also keeping the track of the count of the unique elements, and that I'm saving in a variable which I took it as j. Okay. Then I copy all the elements back from temporary array to the original array and return j. That was the approach which I took in. So for example, again, I'll write it down. My function is, suppose, duplicate array. I take it an array in it and the length of the array. Then after that, I say that I check for whether there are elements in the array or not, or if it is empty or there is a single array, a single element in it. Then what was the next thing which I did? Okay. N equals to 0 or n equals to 1 is checking whether your array is empty. Sometimes, it's for checking whether there is any element inside an array or not. If there is no element, or if there is only single element, then what you are going to sort or, do the operation on? Then you simply just return the size of the array. That is what it is saying. This operation, if n equals to 0. Any other thing? Understood this?
Okay, thank you so much, Swati, for taking up the question. So, yeah, Moin is asking, I want to learn Java programming language. So, Moin, you might have chosen option yes in the counseling form. We will surely want to contact you on a phone call, and we're going to question all your, we're going to answer all your questions. How to join a programming language course from Unikaksha. So, Yavar is asking, ma'am, I am from Kashmir. My friends say it's free. What I answer him? Yeah, I will gonna explain you everything on a phone call about the course features, and about the pricing structure of the course that you have to pay. Guys, anything else that you want to ask? Rohan, Safiq, Devinder, guys, any questions? Only a few people are asking questions. If you don't have any questions, you can write no questions on chat. Okay, understood. Safiq and Devinder is saying no questions. Got it. So, guys, if you don't have any questions, should we end the session? Please write yes if you want to end the session now. Okay, got it. So thank you so much, Swati, for taking up the session. I think it was really beneficial and knowledgeable for people. And I hope you guys find the session very fruitful for you all too. So we will gonna see you all in the next upcoming GCs that we're going to conduct on every Saturday. So until then, thank you so much. Bye-bye. Have a good day. And one more thing, guys. you will going to receive a proper certificate of this Guru class. We will love to share you that certificate in the LinkedIn profile or in your Instagram profile. Okay. So thank you so much. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.